Is it coming? 1 second. Is it coming now?
Yeah, yes, it's coming.
So this is nothing but here I am taking data set. So data set is my data frame data set. Then I'm passing the column name, that is head size. It will take first plt dot scatter. First argument is x value. The second argument is y value. So here we are passing x then y value. So x is head size and y is brain weight. And we are able to see here that they have a linear relationship between like with one another. Like when x is increasing, y is also increasing. It looks like that in the graph. Now we will also see like what's the correlation coefficient between them. Okay, so that is called a small r. We will use a function in Python and we'll see what's the correlation coefficient between them. So that will give us a better idea like how far they are correlated or how well they are correlated with one another. Okay, this one is done. This graph is done.
Done.
Okay, so now next is to find out the correlation coefficient between the values. Here, like I am saying, np dot corr coef. Now np means numpy dot corr coef. So corr coef stands for correlation coefficient. And here I am passing again data set of head size and brain weight. And it will give you a value in matrix. So I am saying, okay, pick the first column. Like actually, it will be a cross matrix, similar kind of value you will be getting, and from that I'm picking the first column value. So now here it says 0.799, means we can say almost 80% collinearity is there. That means like when x is changing your y is also changing, and the correlation between them, like x increasing y is also increasing in a positive way. So it's a positive value now, so it gives us a positive value, so it means positive linear relationship is there. And also it's 80% positive, means there is 80% positive linear relationship between both the data. Okay, getting this one?
Yes.
Okay, so do this. Then after that, also do a distribution plot on the independent variable. Our independent variable is head size here.
Sarup, what is the purpose of giving the 0, comma 1?
See here, actually, if you don't give and see, it will give you the value in a matrix format. That matrix is called as confusion matrix. So we haven't started like we haven't read that till now. Okay, going ahead we'll be looking into that. So in that there is something called as true value, false value, like that. So here from the confusion matrix I'm picking like one column. Like it will be like similar kind of values will be there. Okay, like if you see also one like in one place it will be 0 0, the other place will be like similar kind of values will be there. Okay, you can give like without 0 comma 1 also you can test that. So this is correlation coefficient value. Okay, so this one, whatever value it gives, that is correlation coefficient value. And it will be repeated. That's why I didn't give that. See, this is like np.corr is a function to get the correlation. Like that, you can also check the same thing using different functions. Like those same functions are available in SciPy package also. It's called as Pearson R. Like SciPy, if you import SciPy, in that you have Pearson R. That Pearson R also will give you the same value. So like a lot of packages has this function to find out the correlation coefficient. This is like already there in NumPy, so I didn't include any other package to check. So after this correlation coefficient, we will be doing histogram or distribution plot on our independent variable. So always it's good to understand more regarding your independent variable before doing an analysis, so that you have a better idea of how the things are distributed and how is your like feature going to be. So now here, I have taken this independent variable, that is head size in centimeter cube, and I'm plotting a distribution plot. Okay, you can also do this distribution plot, then we'll discuss on this.
Done.
Okay, so now here, if you see the distribution plot, here we can see that data is a little bit skewed, but it's very near to normal distribution. So now data is very well distributed, so it's very near to normal. It's not like highly skewed towards the right or highly skewed towards the left. So we tell like positively skewed, negatively skewed. It's not highly skewed. Data is well distributed in both the side, but we see there is little bit of skewness within the data. Okay, that's what we see. And also we see the range of data. Okay, most of the data is falling within 3000 something to 4500. So we will say that okay, most of the head size of people will be within this range, and you will see very unlikely values beyond that. Okay, so that's what we are seeing. But now still to find out more details on this data, I'm doing describe on that. So here next one I'm doing is dataset.describe. Now in describe also it tells me mean is 3633 and median is 3614. So both are very near. So if mean and median is very near, means data is very much near to normal distribution. If they are very far, that means data is highly skewed. Okay, but here also data is little bit skewed. It's not exactly same. So data is skewed to some extent, but it's less. So that's what here we can say data is little bit skewed. Also here, what type of skew do you feel like? What type of skew is this? Okay, if you do dot skew, you will
tail.
find.
It's a left tail is there, so it's left is skewed.
Yeah, see more data towards the left side or right side?
Towards the right side it is more, I guess.
Left side.
So see, here our mean is less than the mean is higher than the median. That means positively skewed. Right? Mean greater than median.
And median is 3614, right?
Yes. And mean is 3633, which is higher. Right? So when the data is positively skewed, mean will be higher. When the data is negatively skewed, then median will be higher in that case. Okay, so here we will say that this is our positively skewed. Positively skewed means we have more data on the lower part. Okay, here you can see more data is there. Like this range is also more, so more data is there on the lower part. It's little bit skewed on the right side, so it is positively skewed. You can figure out that by mean and median. Also, if you do dot skew, it will give you the answer. Like if you write instead of dot describe, like after dot describe, you can write dot skew. It will give you a positive value if it is positively skewed. It will give you a negative value if it is negatively skewed, like that. Okay, so here we can say that mean median is very near to one another. One more thing here to look into is, one more very important thing is what's the minimum value and what's the 25th percentile value, then what the 75th percentile value and the maximum value, so that you get the range of you will understand okay what is the maximum and minimum value from the IQR. So now IQR is 3389 to 3876. This is our IQR. So 75th to 25th percentile. So that is 75th to 25th percentile is nothing but our IQR value. So where your data is more clustered. So now here if you see the minimum value from 25th percentile, so 25th percentile is 3389 and the minimum value is 2720. So now minimum value is 2720. So the range between them is somewhere near to 500. The distance between them is somewhere near to 500. Again, if you see 75th percentile and the max value, 75th percentile it is 3876 and the max is 4747. So now this is a very big gap. Okay, now 3876, 4747, almost like 900 gaps, so almost like 1000. So it's like a very big gap which is there as compared to the previous one. Here just 500 is there. the distance between 25th to minimum is just 500, but here if you see it's almost 1000. So here we might see outlier within our data. We might see outlier as we feel like, okay, there is a bigger gap between your max value and the IQR as compared to mean and the IQR. You guys are getting this?
Yes.
Okay, so there might be some outlier or something here. Now to now to sketch or to plot a outlier graph, like to see if there is any outlier, we can plot a box plot. So here the next one I'm doing is a box plot. So I have taken head size as my column and I'm going to draw a box plot. Then we'll see if there is any outlier within the data. So do this one. Just write down this one.
Showing and one dot is 4750.
Yeah, so 4750 means here 4747. Actually, it is 4747. That's the highest value. So now here we can say that there is one outlier. Also, we see the gap is very big from 75 to max. So that max value, it has treated it as outlier. So there is one outlier within our data set. That's what we can say. So now to figure out if there is any outlier or not, you can use this box plot. So we get to see that there is a very unique observation within the size of head within our data. So somebody has 4747 centimeter cube head size, which is very, very unique. Usually it shows it should be around 4500, but it's going beyond that. So it's like very high, like brains, high head size somebody has. So it's nothing but a unique observation which we have within our data. Getting till this? Are you guys getting till this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
next here we are going to, so we analyzed our data and we figured out a bit of information about this, saying okay, we have some outlier. We understood by plotting the data, and we saw that there is close relationship from 3389 to 3876. So this is the size of head which we are going to come across most of the time. Like most of the people will be having this kind of head size as compared to there is one outlier 4747 within the data. Also we saw the data distribution within our data set is very well maintained. Also we saw that there is a correlation between x and y, and they are linearly correlated, positively linearly correlated, and that is also 79, which is a very good correlation between them. So as they are linearly correlated, we can use linear regression on this. So next we are going to take our x and y values, then we'll be doing linear regression on this data set. So for this I'll open this other tab. Okay, so here next one is you pick your x and y value. So here I'm saying x equal to data of head size, that is head size is our x here, and y equal to brain weight. So we are going to predict the weight of brain, that's our dependent variable, based on size of head. So here I have taken x and y. Just take your x and y, then we will be doing we'll be finding out all the other part of that equation, that is y equal to b naught plus b1x we'll be using. So first do this. So here when you are writing the column names, actually copy paste the column names. No need to write the entire thing because sometimes special characters and other things will be there. So you can directly copy paste your column name from the data set when you are reading like data.head you are doing. So that time only you can, like, from there only you can copy paste the column names. That is much easy. Because most of the time you will find out that okay, you made a mistake on the cases, that is like uppercase or lowercase, then also it throws error. So better to copy paste the name of the column.
Yeah, done.
Then okay, so now next is we will find out here b0 and b1. So our formula is y equal to b0 plus b1x. So once we find out b0 and b1, then we can easily predict the values and do all kind of things. So now here the first thing to find out b0 and b1, I will be finding out b1, that is this slope. As we did earlier also, we found out the slope. So for finding out the slope, first I am taking this mean of x and mean of y. You can find out mean of x and y by np.mean function. So it will give you the mean of the value. Then here I am taking total number of values. Now here like xi minus x mean whole square, that's the formula, like summation of xi minus x mean whole square into yi minus y mean whole square divided by x minus x mean, like xi minus x mean whole square, sorry, summation of x minus x mean into y minus y mean divided by x minus x mean whole square, that is the formula. So for that here we need the mean and we'll be running this in loop. As it is xi, we'll be running this in loop. So for that, how many times to run, we need to get the total number of records. So here I'm saying m equal to length of x. It will give me the total number of records here, that is 230 something is there. So that many records will come here. Then using the formula to calculate b1 and b2, sorry, b0 and b1, this should be b0 and b1. So using the formula we have to calculate. So first I am taking here numerator I am saying by default it's 0, denominator by default is 0. So first I will find out b1. So in numerator I will keep summation of x minus x mean into y minus y mean, and in denominator I will keep summation of x minus x mean whole square. That will complete my b1. So I will do then numerator by denominator in b1. So by default it's 0, denominator is 0. Then I'm saying for I in range of total number of values, numerator plus equals. Plus equals means to the existing value add up the new value. Then here I'm saying xi, that is xi minus x mean into yi minus y mean, that is the numerator. Denominator is xi minus x mean whole square. So that is the denominator. So once the for loop runs, it will keep on adding to the existing values. Then once we get the final value, we'll be dividing it, saying numerator by denominator, that will give us b1. Then b0 is given as mean of y minus b1 into mean of x. So that's what we are doing here, b0. Then we are getting b1 as slope as 0.26, that is b1, and b0, that is our intercept as 324. So this is what we are getting. Okay, so are you guys getting this entire thing, or is there any doubt? Are you guys getting this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the same formula what we had, like what we did yesterday. Sorry, last class. That same formula we are using here. Summation of x minus x mean into y minus y mean divided by x minus x mean whole square will give you b1. Then b naught is mean of y minus b1 into mean of x. In real time, you don't have to do like this. In real time, you will not get to see all this thing. This is just we are using the direct formula whatever we have learnt, and we are trying to find out the solution. Same thing we will be also doing with machine learning. That is how you are going to actually do in companies. You'll be using like ready-made packages or functions which are already available, so you don't have to write all this logic. So this is the algorithm which is there. We are writing the algorithm so that we understand properly how the algorithm is working.
You're done for me.
So Abhay, you have also done.
Wait a second.
Done. Okay. Done, right? So next is like here we have found out you guys are getting the same b naught b1. Are you guys
Yes,
getting the
yes.
same? Okay. So next here we are going to we are going to see this part, that is now we have predicted b naught and b1. So we'll see our y pred value will be b naught into b naught plus b1 into xi, that will give you y pred. But here we will calculate rmsc. Rmsc is nothing but root mean square error. Like mean square error will give you the cost function. Now to quantify that, we have RMSC, that is nothing but just add a square root to that to quantify. So RMSC we will calculate. Also we will calculate the R square value. So R square is given by, here I am using 1 minus SSR by SST. Here you can see R square equal to 1 minus SSR by SST. This formula I am using. So here SSR is nothing but sum of square of residual, and this SST is sum of square of total. So now here we are taking sum of square of residual minus sum of square of total, and that is we'll be finding out the R square. Now once we find out the R square here it tells us 639. So that means our model is 64% near, like our predicted line is 64% near to the like observed data point. So we can say our model is 64% accuracy or accurate. So we will tell our accuracy behind the model is 64% here. So we can predict anyone's brain weight based on the size of head with like approximately around 64% accuracy. Okay, so that's what we got. And also there is some error like 72. There is some amount of error which is there. So main goal of regression is to like reduce this kind of errors. Okay, whatever is there, that also we are going to see going ahead. But here anyways in our data set we are getting 72 for now, that is our RMSC, and the other one is R square 64%. Okay, so any doubt here?
No.
Okay, so you can write down these codes. So RMSC is nothing but 1 by n of summation of y minus y pred whole square root of that. Then 1 minus SSR by SST, where SSR is sum of square of residual, which is given by y minus y pred whole square, summation of y minus y pred whole square divided by y minus y mean whole square. So that is our sum of square of total. So now this will give us the accuracy. So now you can do both of this. Then we will do the same thing using machine learning model. Okay, so this is what we have used now, formulas. The same thing we will also do using machine learning package.
Done for me.
Okay. Abhay, you have also done.
Done.
Okay, so this is what we got like by like the normal way, and then the same thing we'll be doing in machine learning. So now to do this same thing in machine learning you can use like scikit-learn. Here we'll be using scikit-learn package. So scikit-learn is a machine learning package in which you will find all these ready-made functions, okay, which are already there. So the same thing what we did right now, so that same algorithm is nothing but the equations what we use right now. Using that they have created this model, okay, which is linear model inside scikit-learn. So now here in linear model inside scikit-learn, so here I'm importing saying from scikit-learn, that is sklearn dot linear model. So now this linear model package has all kind of linear models like linear regression, logistic regression, okay, all these kind of linear models are there. So here I'm saying import linear regression. So that's what, just as sklearn dot linear model import linear regression. Then in scikit-learn metrics package is there. In that we have mean squared error to count the MSE. Usually people don't count MSE in real time. Okay, like usually it's not being counted here to see what's the MSE, but now to find out what's the MSE, we are using this metrics package to see what's the MSE. So now here, first thing what you need to do is you have to reshape your data. So here like your machine learning model takes your data as this ready-made packages takes your x value as two-dimensional. It doesn't take it as one-dimensional, so you have to change the dimension of the value because it thinks that x is more than one, so always it will take the x value in two-dimensional format. So here we are we are reshaping our value. So here I'm saying x dot reshape, take the total number of record comma 1 and putting two brackets, so it will make it two-dimensional and it will change the values, each of the value to 1 1 column, like that 1 1 record kind of thing. So it will change the reset the value. So always like when you have any value, we have to transpose, either transpose or reset like this. Then here we are calling the class. So this linear regression is a class which we are importing here from linear model package. So this is a class. So here I am saying regression equal to linear regression. So now when I assign any variable to a class, it becomes an object. So now this regression is our object, and using this object we can access different methods which are there in this. So now this is how you implement initiate a class. So now here I'm saying linear regression. So I have created the model here, regression equal to linear regression. Then we'll be fitting the data. Now regression dot fit method I am calling here. So this fit method is responsible for doing all kind of activity like the actual finding out B naught, B1, all this thing will be done by this fit. So fit is where you are training the model. So that's where it is learning how the relationship is between X and Y. So this is where all the equations will be there and it is trying to learn, okay, what is B naught and B1 here. So here regression dot fit X and Y, that's all we have to write, and it will use all the algorithm, whatever is there, and it will find out, okay, what is the coefficients for that. Then regression dot predict to predict the values, predict the X values, here just call regression dot predict. Now to check the score, that is R square, you can just write regression dot score X and Y. So here it will give you the R square value. And now to find out the MSE, I'm using that extra package which I imported, metrics package from scikit-learn. Here I'm saying mean square error of Y and Y pred, so it will give you mean square error. Then np dot square root of MSE is nothing but RMSE. Now here when I'm printing both the value, you can see MSE is 72.12 RMSE is 72.12, which is exactly same to what we found by using the formulas. And also you can see R square is 0.639, which is exactly same to what we found. So here this is how in like machine learning packages, this is a machine learning package, you don't get to see how actually things are implemented, but we saw how it is trying to find out the scores and what's the meaning behind it, and also we saw how it is trying to find out this predicted values. Okay, so like the entire model here, any machine learning package you are practicing, you will just import that package name, then you will do dot fit, then dot predict, then dot score. That's all. Like Yeah, here I'm saying model.fit, model.predict, model.score. Similarly, if you are using logistic regression, you will say logistic regression instead of linear, then model.fit, model.predict, model.score. So like that for all kind of like machine learning package, it will be like this. So it will be like very same. So you don't get to see what's there behind this, but here we did it manually to understand okay how actually it works. So this is how in real time it's done. So you can do this also. Okay, any doubt here?
Yeah, there is a reshape function is there. So like, can you explain one more time this?
See, reshape is to change the shape of the value. So here I'm saying reshape with total number of record comma 1. Okay, so what I'm doing reshape with total number of record comma 1, I'm passing in tuple, like one more extra bracket I'm passing. So what this will do, it will change all your values which are in list to 1 columns. Like each of the value will be 1 record, like 1 columns, like that it will change. Okay,
Can you
this is kind
can
of
you
like
can you
transposing.
can can you just print the x part?
Yeah, you can print, no, just print and see, you will get an idea. Okay, before reshaping you print your x, then after reshaping you print your x.
Okay, okay.
Okay, actually here this is like I have to write the code again. This is just an image, so you can just print there while you are writing the code. So always your scikit-learn takes your x as two-dimensional, and that's why we are doing this. And also you need to transpose your value because it will be doing like matrix multiplication and all. For that we need to transpose to each of the values as one vector. For that we are doing this. Otherwise it will consider it the entire value as one single vector. So that's why we are changing this to two dimensions so that it computes each of the individual vectors.
Yeah, done.
Done. Okay, so now this is how like you can find out like there is no difference between the way we did and the way machine learning does. So this is how you actually in real time will be doing in machine learning way, where in just 3-4 lines of code you'll be doing the entire training, but in real time it will be doing all those process, like it will be processing all those things by finding out b naught b1, by running all those values in loops, all those it will be doing. Okay, so this is what is your like simple linear regression we have done now. So now next class we'll see like little bit more on this, and we'll see how to do multiple linear regression. There is one more linear regression called as multiple linear regression that we'll see tomorrow. Okay, see from tomorrow can we'll be doing classes, like we'll be having classes for 2 hours. Is it fine? 2 hour or 1.5 hour?
What you say, Bhay?
Yeah, okay, no problem. But what time it would be?
That's like same 9 o'clock. We can start at 9 o'clock or 9:30. Actually, Monday little bit it might be late because every Monday there will be more work, so it might be 9:30 or near to 10 in Monday. Other days it will be like we can start at 9.
Okay, okay. And actually, see that scikit-learn is not. I'm not able to work on the Google Colab, so it's telling me to import the package. So
It will work, no? Yeah, from scikit sklearn.linear model import linear regression.
Yeah, I'm doing in Collapse only.
It should work. It's a like package which is being used by everyone for machine learning. Okay, it's a very well-known package. It should work. You don't need to install. Just check some spelling mistake might be there. Is it working now? Or else you can share your screen. I'll have a look.
actually, some mistake was there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working, working.
Working. No. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Fine. So we'll keep it till this. Tomorrow we'll continue more on multiple linear.
okay.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Bye.